What's going on, Reality After Show? We are back. We are talking trainer games today. I am Lauren Pratt. I am joined by Phillip Solomon from Deal or No Deal Island as my co-host today. And we have two fantastic special guests from Trainer Games. We have Chari Hawkins in the house and we have Nick Davis. How are y'all?
Good. How are you?
We're here. We're doing it. I'm pumped. I'm excited to ask all the things from my island over to yours. So I am so excited. It must be absolutely insane to be like the adventure that I had. Now everyone gets to watch it. How's that going for you?
I feel like it's been one of those things where I've just like wanted to tell every single person, and like I still have scars on my arms from everything that's happened, and everybody keeps asking me what happened, and I'm just like, I can't tell you yet for life. So it's fun to finally be like, see, look what they made us do.
It's crazy to like hold in a secret for 8 months where everyone's like, where were you for that month in like June? And I was like, oh, it's just, I went on vacation. And then you come back and you're like, well, actually I almost died. And in 8 months, you'll be able to watch me.
Literally everyone's like a yoga retreat. They're like, you've never done yoga before. I was like, that's why I was retreating. So that
for the full experience of it all. But I want to ask, what was y'all's preparation going into this competition?
I thought this was America's Next Top Model. Truly. Actually, what did I get? I got like a little like facial where they like do the serum all over you and they like poke your face. And I got it like right before because I was like, I got to be beautiful, right? And then honestly, then they shoved us in the ocean. You go back and watch, you can see it looks like I have a full face of acne because I thought I was, and instead it was like, here are all of the dots that I have on my face. So super cool. I was really, really prepared for this show, I think.
Yeah, looking cute was just like not an option for us. Like I got my nails done, I was so excited, and then on day one, it's just like they're all destroyed. But it's interesting because like I think Chari had a pretty similar experience, but I didn't really get confirmation that I was going to be on the show until like right before. So obviously there was months of casting, and in the back of my head, I was like, am I about to do like this crazy fitness competition? So I'm like kind of thinking like, should I be training for this? What should I be doing? But honestly, it was like a week before filming that I actually like had my flight booked. Yeah. So like you couldn't really prepare. I think I swam in a pool like 5 times because they kept talking about swimming, and I was like, not my forte. So I was like, I told you probably like get in water. But there was no time to prepare, like because we were a part of the process, but we didn't get that confirmation until like right before, which I think is pretty normal for reality TV. You guys probably know more than me, but it was so last minute. It was crazy.
Yeah. So what did I think for us, it was like 2 weeks. And I was like, oh, and they're like packing lists and send photos of all your outfits and all of this and all that. And it was just, I blacked out and I woke up on an island and I was like, okay, cool, okay, easy. So what did your day-to-day kind of existence look like before the show? Where were you working? What were you doing? How were you helping others? Doing kind of what you do?
You want to go first?
Sure. Yeah, it's interesting because like we'd have one day that was the hardest, worst day of our lives when we were filming a challenge. And then the next day would be like what we called a recovery day, where we were just like talking in the villa and getting to know each other. And those were like the best because we could like just laugh and like be ourselves. But during the challenge days, like, I don't know about Chari, but they were the longest freaking days. And it's funny because like in episode 1, that first challenge, it's like they completed it in 58 minutes. And I'm like, 58, like that was sun up to sundown. That was not 58 minutes. Like, I feel like that's diminishing the craziness that we did. Like those days were long. And we're lucky that we got to eat food.
Yeah, the day on the show was crazy because it was like we went from this like lavish life. Like we were staying in this incredible villa. They were giving us 5-star meals, truly. And then we were on camera, right? Like glitz and glam. And then the next day they were like, be ready at 5 a.m. We have no idea what you're doing. So wear swimsuit, wear hiking shoes, wear running shoes, they were like, just pack everything and then pack up your bags because we don't know if you're coming back. So it was like this like vacation mode to like survival mode, like all the time with no information. Nobody would tell us anything. So really at the end of the day, I think all of us bonded so much because it was like us versus the producers the whole time. It was like
I
us
mean,
and them
We
that
were
whole time.
being traumatized by them. So yeah, we were like, tell us what you're gonna do to kill us next. And they were like, sorry.
We don't know.
literally, that's the part of reality TV that no one talks about. We know that, like, we know our job, our workout, what's going to happen that day. But like in a situation like this, they wake up in the morning, they're like, put on a red shirt and a pair of water shoes. You're like, okay. And they're like, only on the left. And you're like, what's happening? Like, you have no idea. It's horrendous. I think I lost weight on my show just from sheer anxiety of it all, of being like, what is happening? Who's going home? How many people go home? Where do they go when they go home? There's a lot of things in here.
What do you
Truly.
do with them? Like, truly,
What do
like,
you do with it, right?
And I think we were sometimes intentionally, I don't know if it was intentional, but we were sometimes told to wear some things that we didn't end up using. And I feel like it was almost like a little bit of like psychological torture, because we all like didn't want to swim again because we were so traumatized. And they kept saying, wear a bathing suit, wear a bathing suit. But then they would say, also bring trail running shoes. So we were like, what are we doing? And then sometimes we wouldn't use the bathing suit. So I feel like they would just wanted to keep us on our toes. And I mean, personally, I was like just a ball of anxiety the entire time because the unknown was wild.
yeah, it was actually really crazy. The other thing, like, for example, like, this is more like Corey's story to tell, but like what they don't show is, you know, how they have Corey like, oh, Corey, you're safe, you're here. Corey was gone from the villa for like a day and a half. They told us he was gone. They told me, they said, you're by yourself. Go tell everybody that you came here alone. And then Corey didn't show up for a day and a half. We thought he was gone. We thought it was over. It was the next day, and we were all sitting there. And at night, he walks in the villa, and we all just start screaming because we were not expecting him. And I was like so bummed they didn't get on film, because we were like really like so excited to see him. And even though he's such a strong competitor, we were all like, like, you're here. Oh my gosh, what happened? And they kept him in the dark too. He was at a completely different place, and they were just telling him, we don't know. And they made him film both. You're going home, walk off the beach. And then they said, hey guys, you got to come back. You got to do it again. Then they all of a sudden said, so he thought he was going home. Then all of a sudden they brought him back and they were like, Corey, you're safe. Please leave the beach. And then they took him for 36 hours and were like, we don't know. You might come back. You might not. I don't know. Here's all your stuff back that we took from you at the beginning. Oh, does that mean
You're thinking he comes back an hour later? You know what I mean? That's just
like,
how
hey,
we're
guys.
viewing it from the show.
Literally.
Hey, what's up? So you say you really didn't know what was coming, and you had to pretty much be wearing a swimsuit at all times. My man, Nick, don't tell me that you were not prepped in that Speedo 24 hours a day. Don't tell me you were not, because that's a lot. I know you're probably wearing one right now. You're like, if you need it, I can do this now.
I am wearing the red Speedo, actually.
I mean, iconic.
The funny thing is that so we provided like most of our own clothes, and I brought only Speedos because I would not own anything other than a Speedo.
Oh.
But what is funny is, I don't know if this is true of Chari, but the night before, like the head of wardrobe kind of like came into, at least again, we were all sequestered.
Right,
like
yeah.
we couldn't talk to each other before filming, but she at least came into my room and I tried on all of my outfits. And she picked out the red Speedo. Yeah, she took a photo and then she was like, okay, wear the red Speedo tomorrow. And so I was like, it was production. It was production.
It's not my fault.
But the funny thing is that like, I'm like, those were the Speedos I provided were the full coverage Speedos. I'm like, I left the Speedos that I wear usually at home. So I was like, that was as much coverage as I'm going to give you on the beach, even though it was a little bit of a conversation starter.
I mean,
the thing that's also crazy is like, so Nick is like a badass athlete, right? And the thing is that what they made us do is they said, like, your sport, we all want you to spread out on the beach and just, I don't want you to warm up like what you're warming up for. This is about telling your story. So we need you to warm up the way you would warm up. So Nick, right before a paddle is like out here, like hitting like the most beautiful. And the thing is then they decided to only show that. They showed
of course
doing boxing a little, but like I'm doing A skips like for paddle boarding. Like everybody's doing like the most random stuff. Shelby's the only one actually warming up properly because she's an swimmer, but they're like making Nick like do plies on the beach in a Speedo.
I know, it's like my fitness instructor like trainer credentials were going right outside the window. It's like don't do plies before a swim. It's
done at that point.
Warm up your lats, do some mobility in the upper body. Like plies are not it.
So as you get to the island, you're looking each other up and down. Let's just see if we can rewind a little. Bring yourself there to first impressions. Do you remember one person you wanted to work with and one person you were scared of initially, regardless of how it ended? Just like you initially, like you walk on the island, you're looking everyone up and down, and you're like, okay.
So I was right next to Nick. And the thing about it is like, it's very weird, but the hard part is it's so weird to be on a survival show, because at the end of the day, like, even though these are really scary challenges, you kind of want to do them. Like, you want to stay, you want to get to the next day. And so it was weird. Like, I wasn't sizing up my competition. I was scared. I was just scared because I wanted to do a good job and I wanted to be there the next day. Like, and I was just, I was so nervous. And I looked at Nick, and Nick was like, I'm going to pee my pants. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love you so much. Me too. I'm literally not okay right now. I'm not okay. But then like, so we like kind of just like had this like little vibe going. And then Nick acted like I betrayed him as soon as Amanda said, Chari, you're an Olympian. How does it feel? And Nick was like, are you freaking serious? You're an Olympian.
I was pissed.
He's
that
like,
$250,000, it slipped through my fingers. I was like, I was going to win this. And then they said Olympian. I was like, I'm losing.
Cool. Great. Awesome.
And then I humbled. Like, the thing is it's not like I was not confident going into that, but I humbled myself on behalf of everyone after that first challenge.
It's funny. I don't know if Chari remembers this because they definitely didn't air this, but they kind of went through one by one and kind of asked us, like, Amanda was asking us questions. And, you know, like Chari gets like, tell us what it is to like to be an Olympian. And, you know, Corey's getting like, tell us what it's like to run an ultra marathon. And then she's like, Nick, you're an artist from New York City. What are you doing here? It was something like, this isn't your typical environment. And I was like, nope, it's not. And she was like, but I bet you could use the money. And I was like, yes. she was because Amanda also has a theater background, and she was on Broadway and she was a Rockette. So she like has that, she knows the artist lifestyle, you know, it's not a lot of money, but it was just like, couldn't have been any more exposing in front of like top-notch athletes. I'm like, okay, well,
and then
my cover is blown.
Well, then you were the first boy to cross. And that was the second way that me and Nick really really combined. What am I trying to say right now? Connected. Yeah, we're combining. I don't know. That's not a real thing. But like when we were doing our first round of interviews, I remember I was like, oh, like, are they asking you guys questions that are crazy? They're asking me a lot about you, actually. And I was like, uh-oh. Okay. And I was like, what are they saying? Because I had just gotten destroyed. I like went an hour after, like, I took 10 out of 10 and number 9 finished like an hour before me. So I was like, uh-oh, this is not good. And they were kind of like, were you surprised that the Olympian was so bad? And I was like, oh no. And then they said to Nick, they were asking like, oh, like, were you like surprised that Nick did so good? And so we looked and we were like, is this play about us?
This is us.
Literally everyone was being like, yeah, they asked me a lot about Nick, a lot about Chari, and we were like, this could be great or terrible.
I was so nervous.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the trust component that this game incorporates? Because you have the ability to select the captains that you want to represent, and they are then choosing teams. What is y'all's mindset going into that, knowing that you are then standing at the rappel and having to go down that, and you're relying on that person to have you in their hands?
I was so thankful for Dan. Chari is like a lot more fearless than I am. Like, she just goes into everything with like, I'm going to do it. You're like, if it's dangerous, it's exciting, versus I'm just like terrified of everything. And Dan, as you can tell, is like just the calmest person in the world. Mm-hmm. And also, you know, like, I'm used to working out in a gym or like running on pavement in New York City. I'm not used to rappelling down. You know, we don't have mountains in Manhattan to like rappel down. So I was so out of my element. And the fact that like Dan is this like mountain man from Montana, and the fact that he's the one rappelling me down, I'm like, I don't know if I would have been able to do it without him. And I was like I'm a very calm person, but that day I was very chaotic, very anxious. And Dan is like such a calming presence that I don't know if I would have been able to do it without him. Seriously. Talk about trust.
I think Heather was so nervous about the belaying, but the thing about it is like, because she was so nervous, she's a professional triathlete. She it's one of those things where the gun goes off and then you're going to do everything exactly correct. And the thing about it is I couldn't see anything, like literally they had 2 sets, by the way, of blindfolds on us. So they had blackout eye goggles, like water goggles, and then the blindfolds. So that there was just like, there was no way you were going to see a thing. And I just kind of like, she was just over communicating, which I really much appreciated. And in my mind, like I had been rock climbing before, and it wasn't something like I do often, just like, but I had been before. And I was like, I feel like I'm just going to drop. And if I fall, like I'll fall down, you know what I mean? Like I'm not going to drop down. And so in my mind, I was like, I'll get banged up, whatever, just step. And it ended up, I think that, I don't know, did you guys see Nick's side had to be way harder. You guys had that big divot. We didn't have that divot. I guess we had the divot at the end, I guess.
It's like the cliffs were not equal, and like you couldn't see, you obviously don't see where you're stepping. So yeah, the cliff like disappeared.
Yeah,
like
I had it pretty hard.
Twice.
Oh, no.
The funny thing is I literally said like, okay, Nick, what's the worst thing that could happen? You fall and you hit your head. What's the first thing to happen? I fall and I hit my head. I'm like, you've got to be freaking kidding me. Like worst case scenario.
Way crazier. Because ours did that at the end, but it was at the end. And then she could just drop us down. Yeah. Right. It was like not that big of a deal. But like your guys' was at the beginning and then you had to try to find it again. That's wild.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, like it was about speed. So it's like, you know, obviously I spent a little bit of time dangling as opposed to rappelling, but it's like whatever you got to do to get down there. It was like who gets down the fastest, not like who has the most beautiful rappelling technique.
True. I was telling Nick though, I was like, Nick, what? Like later, I was like, the thing about you is like, you're an athlete and you're a dancer. And like, I did dance growing up. So it's like, I know that you've got like that, like bearing, you understand that like a slight bend in the knee will be like, and you're just like, stick straight going down a hill. I was like, what did you think was going to happen? You're going to topple over.
Paralyzed by fear. Yeah, it's funny when Chari told me that and I went back and literally, I look like a stick figure. I'm a literal stick figure. Like you can see the fear in my legs.
But with such good posture, your feet were pointed. I was so proud of you, honestly.
I was not. You look like a fainting goat. You were like the one. You were an incredible athlete. You're like out here like
falling all over the place.
All right.
So
Can
dangerous.
you talk us through that illegal pass moment at the end of the challenge? And here's what I want to know, just like from my own experience of like, when you break a rule, was everyone sure that they were going to reverse it? Or was it one of those things where you were like, I think they thought they won, or did they win? Or like, was it one of those where the producers just kind of made you guys hang around for a second and wait for a long time so they could figure it out and go back and look at the tape? Like, how was all that actually handled off screen per se?
Yeah, it's interesting because they took the rules very seriously. And like even with the goggles, they told us if you touch the goggles, I think it was like a 1-minute penalty or something if you touch them. So we were so freaked out about the rules. Oh, and they were skin tight to the point that I was losing vision. Like the vision was lost, but you could feel the circulation being cut off, and I desperately wanted to touch it. But so we took the rules very seriously, and off camera they did. I don't know if this is typical of reality TV. They did a lot. They would bring in like the lawyers, and we would do the talks of like, these are the rules. Mm-hmm. If you don't follow these rules, these are the penalties. Like, and we would sit there for like an hour just listening to rules and rules and rules. So we were like very much under the impression that the rules were strict. Yeah. But the thing about the like blue flags and the no passing is that like when you're sprinting in a treacherous mountain, nonetheless, like the last thing you're looking around for was the flags. I'll be honest, I didn't even see the flags. I didn't look at them at all. I was just running for my life. So that's why I'm like, I really don't blame that team
Right.
for running, but like they were very clear about the rules.
Yeah, they were. The thing about Heather too is like she came out by the time they came out, like we didn't see them pass, right? Because by the time they came out, it was what it was, and it was just chaos. Like everybody was coming at the same time, so we were like so celebrating. And she's just like, "Oh, I think we might have passed too early." And I was like, "Nope, no, you didn't," because in my mind, I'm watching them just sprint when they came out. So I was like, fine, but it's like we can't see them when they're in the jungle like earlier. So, I mean, it makes sense. And it was kind of a bummer. Like at the end, I was like, oh, this sucks. Like and right as they announced it, they were like, we're doing it right now. Like I thought it was gonna be like tomorrow. Like I thought we were gonna be, and that challenge was 6 hours. And I'm like not even kidding you.
At
like
least.
just the challenge was 6 hours. And because every time we each did something, we had to Heather had to pull the rope back up the cliff. Like think about that. Think about Heather had to hold a bucket, but every time somebody like belayed somebody, she had to pull the rope back up. Like she had to, not anybody else. And so it's like we thought it was going to be like, hey, we have a day to think about it. We have a day to talk about it. And nope, it was like right now we're all soaking wet and the sun is now going down. We're completely exhausted. And so everybody like was shaking like pretty heavy. They were shivering. You know what I mean? It was so crazy. And Nick was watching it. Like oh my gosh, Nick told me after, he's like, Chari, I thought you were done. Like at the beginning, he's like, when they announced what it was, I was like, oh, it's Chari. She's out.
But here's the thing. What you guys don't get to see is that like out of everyone of that lineup, Chari would have been the last to drop. I am not just saying that. Like she was the only one who showed like no sign of struggle. Like people were struggling and it was happening so fast before Heather like dropped. But yeah, before the challenge, I was like, pure upper body strength for this like skinny girl who's like a sprinter, like to the endurance of the upper body. In my head, I was like, yeah, Chari, like
we just watched.
She's going.
Watched her arms at work yesterday.
But if it was a contest of who could hold it the longest, I genuinely think you may have won. You were like everyone was struggling besides you. You were Daryl. You two were the strongest.
Yeah, well, I think like for me specifically is where it started getting challenging for me is it started getting so chaotic. Like there was so much yelling and so much like screaming. And like I was doing this thing where I was just counting, like I was counting to 10 as slow as I could and as many times as I could. Because in my mind, I was like, that's the only way you're going to get any numbers. If you just sit there, time will go by. But it's like if you just count to 10 as slow as you can for as long as you can. And I think I got to like 4 sets of 10 before it started getting really chaotic. And I like went like this. And as soon as I went like that, like my body like seized up and I was like, oh, you should have focused. But then it was like 1 second later, everybody was dropped. Like, and it was over. Like it just happened so quickly. And so it was like the most random, like it really, and Heather said she went home and did that challenge. And she's like, I held it for a long time. She's like, but I was just in the moment. I was so tired. She's like, it's crazy. It was just insane. It's so insane.
I have a hot take. I just want honesty. Do you think that, no, because I know that everyone's like, I want to protect the show and the production company and the producers and stuff, but like, we don't do that because this is run by Johnny Fairplay. So like, no, we're not doing it. What I'm going to ask you is, do you think that elimination, actually, do you think any of the elimination challenges were truly fair to both men and women? And I know that like there were some weights and stuff that were changed along the way, but like I'm a personal trainer. I know that there are things that my men can do that my women can't do. So I'm like, is it fair?
I think, let's see. There were challenges where they split it up evenly. They did it by body weight. They did it by, they like helped with gender, like all of that kind of stuff. And then there were times where they didn't do it. And they don't really talk about where they did and where they didn't. And so they're like at one point, and I don't know if you think, Nick, like at one point there were times where I was like, oh, like there's no way a girl is going to beat this. Like,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? Because there was just no
Definitely.
advantage. There was no like, it is what it is. You know what I mean? And so, but then there were times where it was like, oh, cool, like this is possible. So, yes and no. Like I think they did their best, and then I think that the thing that's really hard is, like I think also they tried to consider, we don't want to feel like we're giving women unfair advantages, and I think so. I think adjustments were made, and then it shows. I think.
Yeah.
I think in certain parts, and in certain parts,
Yeah.
no. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. Obviously, like no spoilers, but there certainly were moments where men and women, they tried to equal the playing field, and then some moments where they didn't. But also, like Chari can probably attest to this, there were actually like a lot of guys, like not myself, I'm proud to say, but there were a lot of guys who were like, hold on, the guys are at a disadvantage because the weight was so much higher. Like I saw the weights with the buckets felt reasonable to me, like the difference of the weights. But like if we scroll all the way to what we just saw yesterday with the end of episode 3, like I know that I don't think those guys were too happy about like the weight that was on their sled. But it's like when you get into those nitpicky conversations of like, well,
Yeah.
we had 20 pounds more than you, so like it's a really difficult conversation, and there's no perfect middle ground.
There's two conversations I have with that one, because first they did it by they did it by gender, and then they did it by weight. And the thing about me is I'm an explosive power athlete, but I am light. I'm a really like I have small bones. So I'm a light individual. And when it comes to like an adjustment for weight, for body weight, I'm actually at quite an advantage because I have a lot of power for how much I weigh. And so my question that I asked when like some people were a little bit like maybe unhappy because it felt like I had such an advantage, I said, hey, if the exact same advantages, but I was a guy, but I was an Olympic decathlete, because the women do the hep, the men do the calf.
Yep.
Do you think that I still would have beat you? And they were like, yeah, probably. And I was like, so that's the only thing that we have to kind of consider is if I'm an Olympic decathlete in the same caliber, but I'm the same size portion, same weight for my gender, like same size for my explosion, but I'm an Olympic decathlete, I think I'm still beating you. And like,
Oh, we lost you, Chari.
We did.
It helps. She's never looked better.
Right?
What a freeze, We'll bring it back in, and
Yes.
whenever the connection comes back. But Nick, I want to talk to you about the mountain challenge, because that challenge in itself is hard alone without any restrictions and restraints to you. When they say that you're having the suit and then adding on the sandbag, what is going through your mind?
It's funny because that's the one challenge I went into where I was like, wait, I think I'm gonna be good at this. I'm gonna be really good at this, because I'm used to like running with a weighted vest. I do a lot of like workouts with weighted vests on. So I was feeling good about it. Also, at that point, I didn't think we'd be like rock climbing without being safetied in at the top of this mountain. So before that challenge, I felt so good. And you can even kind of tell, like, we came pretty hot out of the gate. Like my team very much had a lead within the first 10 seconds. And it was just kind of because I was feeling so confident about it. But just the circumstances of the day were rough. It was really hot. And I know a few people like mentioned that, but it's hard to portray that on camera, like how absolutely excruciatingly hot it was. And yeah, it was just like, again, the weighted vest was based on weight and size. Like I'm like 6'2.5", almost 6'3", like weigh a decent amount. So like my vest was pretty heavy. And it's just like the restrictions of those bands and the neck restrictions were like just excruciating. It's the kind of things where it's like you can't really show audiences what it feels like, but it's just pain, just like absolute pain. And it almost becomes a game of like how good at you are at ignoring pain, And I was like, that day, it was really, really tough. But we came hot out of the gate. So it's like the entire time my team obviously was in the lead, and we like knew that we were in the lead the entire time. So it was kind of like a nice cushion to have, knowing that like I could stop and be like, oh my God, guys, can we take a second? Because we knew we were like pretty far in the lead. But that was one of the worst things I did in trainer games, was that weighted vest, that sandbag. Just the pain in our neck the next day was just excruciating. Like, I have never done anything like that before. And I'm a very mobile person, and having zero mobility, like literally not being able to reach your hands above your head while rock climbing and hiking and running, like crazy. I'm like,
Insane.
what were they thinking? They're crazy.
I mean, honestly. Okay, so I personally, I like to be like, I love the show, but I want to love you more, like individually. So my actual Nick question is, and I love asking this of anyone on any show, why were you cast on Trainer Games? I think that there's so much strength and power in knowing what you bring to the table and why you were like, no, the show saw this in me and they knew that they needed it.
Yeah, it's interesting because like throughout the casting process, it kind of became clear that they were like highlighting me being a dancer and that being my sport. Because everyone kind of represented a sport in some way, although we were all trainers and coaches, like we all kind of had our specialty. And obviously through a lot of the conversations, they would be like, do you run? Because I know a lot of dancers don't run. And I was like, I run. And they're like, do you swim? Do you bike? Do you all these things? And I think they started realizing that like I was a dancer, yes, but I also have like athletic abilities beyond being a dancer. So I think the casting team and like maybe the producers were kind of like, hey, we have a little bit of like an underdog on our hands because, no other competitor was coming into this being like, I just do musical theater and like that's my thing. We have Olympians, we have ultra marathoners, military trainers. Like I was so wildly different. And so I feel like that was a little bit of probably my selling point. I think I proved to the casting people throughout the process of like, hey guys, like I'm actually very physically fit. So like whatever you need me to do, like I'm going to be able to do it. But I think they thought other competitors would see me as like the weak link of the group. And so, yeah, I felt a little bit of responsibility going in to kind of not only like live that story, but also to like actually follow through on the, oh, I'm still athletic part of it. Because I was like, what if I'm the underdog, but then I don't perform well? So it was kind of a lot of pressure to prove to people that, yeah, I'm a dancer and I don't play any other sport, but I'm still just as athletic. Dancers are athletes, just in a very different way, but we're still just as athletic.
How have your views on yourself and the world changed since being on the show? Because I'm a firm believer for all reality people, you have like how I used to navigate everything before lights, camera, action, and afterwards you're like, I came back and I was so different.
Yeah, it's amazing because I feel like you probably feel watching the show. Like I know a lot of people have given me this feedback that it's like inspiring in terms of just like fitness goals. Like so many people have been like, Nick, I want to run a marathon now, or I want to get into trail running. Like it really does inspire people. And I think we all felt inspired in certain ways. Like I have never met such insane athletes in my life. And I come from a very athletic family, but these people like blew my expectations out of the water. So the day I came back from Trainer Games, I signed up for my first Ironman 70.3. I'm signing up for marathons. I'm signing up for all these races because I'm like, hold on, like it might be delusion, but I like now have the confidence of like, damn, like I can do anything. So it really instilled me with a little bit more confidence. It has been interesting. I'm sure you can attest to this as well, but like having people watch you on TV and, I'm a performer, so I'm used to people seeing me and giving me feedback, but it's not me. It's like a character versus now people are perceiving, oh, she's back.
I'm back. I'm sorry.
We're back.
I thought it like, you know how you said like, oh, it might kick us off for a little bit.
Oh yeah.
And so I thought that was what it was happening. And I was just sitting there waiting. And then I was like, wait, did I actually lose connection? And then I got the email, like, join if you can. I was like, oh, wait.
Most certainly lost connection, but you looked awesome in the freeze.
Let's go.
Did I?
You did. We didn't kick you out on purpose.
All right. So then, I have one that I always ask because I think it means a lot. If both of you could give one piece of advice to yourself at, let's say, 5 or 6 years old, in knowing all the things you've done in fitness and exercise and the world, what would it be?
Do you want to go first, Chari?
Yeah, I'll go first. I think that something I've learned just like over the years, I've always had this a lot. I'm like a lot of energy. I talk a lot. I'm really big with all of everything that I do. And I always was so I was always so worried about rubbing people the wrong way. And I realized that the reason why is because connection is so important to me and people are so important to me. And I think that if I was 5 years old, I would just constantly remind myself, like, people won't remember the things you do, so don't get embarrassed as much. Like, but they will remember how you make them feel. And so, like, honor people and like make them feel included and make them feel like excited to be alive and inspire them to be their best, because they'll always remember like how you leave them. And that's been something I feel like I finally starting to figure out that is important to me. But I think I would have saved myself a lot of like heartbreak of my own, just because I was always trying to fit in and try to like fit into something that I wasn't, instead of remembering, but like it's about others. It doesn't always have to be about like where you stand. It's about how you leave people.
Amazing. And my guy, Nick.
Yeah, it's interesting. I feel similarly, just with different experience. I feel like the younger version of me was incredibly outgoing and like full of life and just like so outrageously flamboyant. I was just like always wearing heels, always dressing up as Dorothy, just doing the craziest things. And I was always that kid who would like, if I was in a room with adults, I was like the life of the party. And, you know, obviously growing up gay is like not easy, especially when you're not surrounded by other like gay or queer people. And so I think I like dimmed my light a bit for most of my like childhood, just to like kind of cover up who I really was. And similar to Chari, it's like reminding yourself to take up space. Like I wish I could tell that, you know, 5-year-old version of me, like, you are loud and you are a lot, but people are gonna like that. And if people don't, then like screw them. It doesn't matter. Like it was a talk I kind of had with myself before going on to the show, because I was like, I pictured a world in which I become my very like gym version of Nick that's like quiet and like doesn't want to talk much because I don't want to appear like too gay or too annoying to people or too flamboyant or not strong enough. And I like had to talk with myself where like I'm going into the show and I'm gonna paint my nails because I want to paint my nails, and I'm not gonna like wear the clothes that I think I should wear. I'm just gonna do whatever the hell I want and just like try to live my truth. Yeah.
And everybody was like, as long as you have the mustache, because did you tell that story?
No, the mustache was like such an integral part of my casting process, which was so funny. It's like I had never grown out a mustache a day in my life. Like I've never grown out facial hair. Right before the casting process, I grew it out maybe like a month before. And the first call I ever got on, they were like, hey, just letting you know, like what we're drawn to is like your mustache. So, or one of the things we're drawn to is your mustache. So like if you were to change anything or trim it or take it off, like just let us know. Which to me felt like code for like, if you take this mustache off, you're no longer in consideration for this.
We have been in the room. We know when they're like, so we see you have is that and you're like, oh, so you want me to get rid of it. Okay, cool.
Exactly.
Great.
Exactly. So it was like the opposite of that, where I was like, they're telling me if I get rid of this, I'm no longer going to be
like,
a competitor.
We don't want you. We want
that stash.
Just want the mustache.
So you best believe I bought the oils, anything. I'm like, let this baby grow for the month leading up to casting. I was like, if I trim this too much, I'm going to be just like off the chopping block for this reality show.
Which
I
is, I
saw
love
the
it.
mustache like episode 1, and I was like, yo, America's healing. Like this is it. We're in it.
Again, 8 months ago, I had never grown out facial hair a day in my life. I thought I couldn't. So
is that not insane? Because that is the gnarliest mustache I've ever seen. It's literally 10-10. It's so good.
You still have it, so I
know,
mean,
right?
you can't beat it.
I kind of feel like if I shaved it off, people would be like, "Who are you? Were you in this show?" So I'm like, I'm kind of tied to it now.
Yeah, you're stuck with it now. But I have a final question for the both of you on my end. So we finally get to see you are on the same team. We did not get to see the competition unfold yet, but can you give us a small teaser just to get people excited about it?
Me and Nick get to go into the show together. So the group splits into 2 teams of 2, and like same team, but 2 teams of 2. And so you're going to get to see me and Nick team up like really together, and it
Yeah.
is. I hope they paint it as hilarious as it was.
It's one of those things when something is so stressful and high stakes that you can only laugh at it. Like, I think everyone would agree that this city challenge that's coming up in the next episode was actually the highest stakes. Even though it wasn't dangerous, it was the most stressful. And Chari and I have never laughed so hard in our lives. And yet we were like, it was the most stressful moment of my life. But
I don't think I've
hard
ever said that many 4-letter words out loud in
the
my
entire episode is just gonna be bleep, 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 bleep.
And I'm like,
Our moms are gonna be so disappointed in us. But it was a good time.
I was like, hey, like at least they censor it, but like you might not hear any actual words coming out of my mouth. It might just be bleeps. The entire
It was the wildest. It was probably going to be the most stressful, chaotic episode of this entire series. It was crazy.
I love it. I'm obsessed. Can you take your Trainer Games journey and sum it up in one word? You're allowed hyphens, as many syllables as you want, but take your entire journey there. If you're like, okay, from the time I left my house to the time I came home, give us a word.
I think.
You go. No, I want yours.
I think my word is confidence. I think it's interesting because I think I'm a confident person, but I think I, again, am used to like making myself smaller to fit into rooms or to fit into social groups or whatever it may be. And I think I came into this show with that confidence already there deep down, but almost like trying to wash it away to make myself, I don't know, appear weaker so that if I was weak, I could say like, I told you so, you know? And so I think a word for me, something I really gained from the show was a lot of confidence. And that was through the challenges, but also like through the other competitors. It's funny because it's like they show everyone like picking me last in all these challenges, but it was like actually the 9 of them who like put so much confidence in me. Like they were the ones who were like, Nick, you're such a badass. And I was like, am I? I don't feel like it, but am I? And so I built so much confidence at the end of the show.
Amazing.
Yeah, I love it. I think that mine is the word chance. And I think that the premise of it is just giving things a chance. Because this whole thing, I mean, I didn't realize how I am the most high maintenance athlete I've ever met. I didn't realize like I need the 10 hours of sleep. I can't have bruise. If I have a bruise on something when I'm training, I'm like, I take the day off. You know what I mean? And so like going into this and it being fully out of my element in every way, but being able to come out and see like, wow, like my eyes were so opened. There's 10 athletes that are so different from me in so many different ways. But being able to be like open and give all of them a chance to be close to me and realizing how beautiful these people are inside and out, like, and like I found like 10 friends for life, you know, and giving like even like scary things, like even going down a mountain blindfolded, and giving like big dreams and going for things that you want and just like really giving it a chance. Like, even if you kind of like, you go into the ocean and you get scraped up and you kind of get eaten out and chewed out and you even take last, right? But it's like, I get to say I had to go out into the ocean in Mauritius, Africa. And it's just like, do it for the plot, like give it a chance. Like whether it turns out that you become an iFit trainer, your dream job, and everything is amazing, or even whether you get to say that you made 10 new incredible friends, like it's always worth it no matter what. And I think this was like a huge lesson for me, for sure.
I love that. You guys, you have truly inspired me from one athlete to another, from my island to yours. Welcome to the official reality TV. It's absurd, the whole thing, every last one of us. Where can we find you guys on social media?
I'm on Instagram as Nick Davis _fitness. I'm also on TikTok and YouTube as just Nick Davis Fitness. I try to make it easy.
And I'm _Chari Hawkins pretty much across the board on all the socials, from like my meta people, like in the Facebook world, like my Uncle Roger who always tunes in on that end.
Listen, I love still being on Facebook. You leave me alone.
Listen, no,
Okay, boomer.
like, literally every time I post, he is sat, and I love it, and so I will never doubt it. It's amazing, all the way to Instagram, TikTok, X, Threads, all the things. So
Chari has some of the most loyal followers I've ever seen. Open up her comment section and you're like, this is the most loved woman in all of America.
Well,
they love her.
I love too. We send each other Christmas presents, and we do it right over there. It's so fun.
Uh-huh.
I always say that I'm Michael Scott. I'm like, I want to have 1,000 kids so that I can have 1,000 friends, and nobody can say no to me. That's
the way to do it.
Way to do it, right?
I'm like, please be my best friend, please.
Chari, Nick, it was really such a pleasure having you both on the podcast. Phillip can attest to this. We love asking the fun questions, and we love hearing the behind the scenes, because this experience is about y'all, and we want to get to know more about you, because sometimes it's hard for the show to completely portray that. And so when you guys come on these podcasts, we are able to tell the story even broader.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. With that, everyone, be sure to check out any future Trainer Games interviews that we may have coming forward. Once again, y'all were fantastic. Phillip, always a pleasure.
Absolute star. Thank you for tuning in. Reality After Show. Continue to appreciate who you were, celebrate who you are, and motivate who you're going to be. Have a good